humanitarian aid and aid in general? If so, what is that difference? In the phase 2 that I saw circulating through you, Madam Chair, will there be an information session so that people can understand exactly what their role will be, how they will get access, because there are people that cannot make it to some of the community centers. What about the district that don't have community centers? What is the plan? Can we give the people clear directives as to what they have to do to be a part of it? And I understand that now that the signing up is no longer at the government building. In the future, do we have something in place that they don't ever have to be at the government administration building? Can we put something in place? Because that too, I mean, to stand here and speak of the fights that broke out and so on at our government building, I mean, these are things that are to be expected in desperate times. I also believe that we should have something in place to avoid it being there, since in our reality, it's the civil servants that carry out the work. So can we put something in place, or do you have a plan where this will be better handled? For those people, and I heard you mention that for people whose salaries are $4,000 and below, they automatically qualify. What about those people who earn more, but now based on businesses closing down, you know, how do they qualify? Let's say now they no longer have a job. I have some questions that ties to relief that for basically SZV and the hospital, but I want to make sure I stick to the topic because all are not in relation to the hurricane relief. But what relief was given to the employees of those two institutions? And if it was financial, was it in the form of a loan, or was it in the same fashion that government handled for employees? What other sort of relief was given to these to the employees of these institutions? And I will ask this as I asked in the Ministry of Education, did we have some kind of psychological assistance working, how they are coping, to track their coping mechanism and make sure that, you know, people appear normal, just like everything appearing normal, but trauma is something that you just see. You know, what are we doing to ensure that our employees and as well as civil servants, you know, what is being done to ensure that they can get assistance psychologically? Again, this is not too much with aid, but I'm so concerned about the companies that's closing down. This is going to have an effect on our SZV streams of income, the different streams from ZV, OV, AWV, all, and these are going to have some impacts. You know, what is in place for the people who lose their jobs? After a certain point, your SZV card is no longer valid. What's going to happen to those people, specifically people with diabetic patients and diabetic patients and the like? You know, what is in place for because this is coming up. When you think of the businesses closing down, Sisentia, but I'm not going to go into that direction. We will have to call another meeting for that in trying to stick on a topic. And clearly my question's finished, but I had some time, Madam Chair. That is why I went ahead and asked, but that's it for now. I thank you.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within one calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more, however you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NV.
Prime Minister Postman, the integrity chamber, of course, the law itself, a lot has been talked about it, having it in place, what the Dutch government has as a condition. I think what has been lost in all of the noise is what exactly is the 3 most salient bits of this law and how it's going to affect us and our daily life.
I would believe that everyone in St. Martin would be able to dream about the integrity chamber. We've been fighting about it for such a long time. I would refrain from going into the detail of the law at this particular point for the simple reason, like I said, the legislation is now at Parliament, and it has to be debated in Parliament. And I will leave that to the parliamentarians in discussing the thing with the legislation. The concept of the integrity chamber is one that has changed during the process from the first draft. We know the history, going to being sent up by the Ombudsman to the Constitutional Court. Parts of it was declared unconstitutional. It was redrafted. But basically, it is like a watchdog on integrity issues where those type of issues would be investigated. It's not a penal code something, because if prosecution would have to take place, it would still have to be, that would have to be done by the Solicitor General, so it would have to be sent to the Open Bar Administrator, to the public prosecution. But it's basically addressing integrity issues. I would say let us wait until the debate starts in Parliament. It can be very interesting. And I think then all parties should definitely know what is in the law and be clear about it.
Once Parliament approves the Integrity Chamber law, there is still a period of 6 weeks for the Ombudsman to review the legislation. Are your Dutch counterparts, relevant counterparts, aware of that part of the process, and how will that influence the release of the recovery funds?
Hilbert, what do you think? After former Minister Plasterk indicated to be totally, disappointed and even angry because he was not aware that process had to take place. Don't forget, we already had that process. I don't think that there's anyone, this story about St. Martin Integrity Chamber was not limited to the Caribbean parts of the kingdom and the European part of the kingdom. We were all over the world with it. When I attended the pledging conference in New York, everybody knew what was going on and what the argumentations was about. So I don't believe that anyone in The Hague or wherever can now say that they don't know what the process is. We have a legislative process that is laid down in our Constitution, and that is a process that we have to follow. And I understand the urgency that we have, But we have to follow the legislative process that is laid down into our Constitution. And that's why I caution those who, I would say, create the impression that a piece of legislation would reach Parliament today, it's finalized today, and tomorrow we can have recovery. We owe the people to be open and sincere and let them know exactly what is going on. That is the sole reason why I come here and sit at these briefings, so that we inform the public adequately. So, yes, to answer your question, I don't think that there's anyone who can say that they don't know what that procedure is. If they don't, they can send my office a request, and I would be glad to spell it out for them.
Busman? Okay, the king visits St. Martin on Saturday, and you got the experience of greeting the king. The king seemed to have very much interest in St. Martin. What the message did you get from the visit of the king?
First of all, I think both majesties, the king and the queen, showed to be totally sincere in their concerns as to the situation of St. Martin and the people of St. Martin. The king stands above politics, and this last visit was specially aimed at speaking to the people who were affected by the hurricane and those who are providing the aid. I indeed had the opportunity to be along with them during the day, and no matter where they stopped, and they were very sincere and concerned of the issues. But one thing was made me feel good, having lived through it and have to deal with the aftermath of it and all of the confusion that the aftermath has caused. The king was very optimistic. The king was very optimistic about the resilience of the people of St. Martin. The king was very impressed with what has been done up to now to bring this island back. Because if you will listen to the press report, one would believe that absolutely nothing has been done, that you had a government sitting there twirling their thumbs and not doing anything back. All of my colleagues on the Council of Ministers have worked 24/7 from the day the hurricane hit up to present, right? And we just hear the report of the minister with the pavilions for schools. Our schools were back up and running in no time. If we compare, the hurricane did not only hit St. Martin, the hurricane hit different countries. One among others, Puerto Rico, for instance, which is a U.S. dependency, etc. And if you compare the speediness of our recovery, and mind you, I'm not saying, absolutely not saying that we are there. Far from that. St. Martin has some serious issues to deal with, and it's going to take a while before we are totally back up and running. But I want to feed from the sincereness and the positive approach that the royal couple showed while on St. Martin in us moving forward. And I think it's about time that we do just that. It's about time that we stop throwing rocks at each other and look at what we need to do and do it together. So I don't know if that answers your question.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 fun mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of fun miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free fun miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles from within your reach.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more. However you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Teachers, how are we? Do we have a shortage? I know that after Irma, quite a number of teachers left the island. How are we looking? Do you have any figures as yet?
Well, the figures, thank you, Andrew, that I received last did show, and I mentioned it. The last time I received figures, I did come to the press briefing with it. Since then, I haven't had an update in terms of numbers, but I have had several teachers who are new, returned to the island, locals, or who had finished USM and continue to work because they actually hadn't found a job in the teaching field, which I find strange, seeing as we have to import teachers. So there were several teachers, as well as I mentioned before, that in the interim, while in the transition period, because even though we had teachers that left, we also had students that left. So it sort of was balanced out. Where teachers were missing, some student care coordinators and or principals were filling in, especially in the elementary schools. The secondary schools that indicated the need, they were in discussions with their counterparts in the Netherlands or wherever else to get teachers in. But I think we will only get a good picture of our proper needs post after Christmas, because many of the students will then be coming back who had still opted to stay instead of breaking up the rest of their school year. They opted to get their report cards, that first report card for the first term. So several are returning in December, and then January will give us a new picture. So in advance of that, we have been asking the school boards to make the necessary preparations, and so far, my office has not received an alarm as to we're not going to be able to service the students who are there. And as Minister Boseman, you'd also asked a question about the violence on St. Martin. Our students are also exhibiting higher levels of violence. The Education Care Center, which had been scheduled to start in October, was severely damaged. In the initial assessments, since 1, 2, 3, we just had a meeting, and as a matter of fact, updating on that with the two entities within the ministry that were working on that, which was Student Support Services and Public Education Division. The staffing had been completed. They are currently assisting in the schools, so meeting the needs within the schools, not necessarily outside of the school the way we had planned. So the student care coordinator, the coordinator herself is working with current schools, trying to alleviate the situations at the schools. We had 2 teachers and 2 teachers' assistants. They are assisting in the current schools right now. So that is also helping us to meet the need of where teachers were missing. You have the regular sick leave issues. You have the regular pregnancy leave issues, which with having a 98% female population happens quite often. So they are actually meeting a need, and now the planning is being looked at, that we've gotten the initial start off and materials in. We're looking at how we can get the ECC still back on track by January, by mid-January. So then we'll be also meeting the needs of those students with the extra care in a smaller group. The SSSD continues to lend its support. The care teams are doing their work, not only with the teachers, with the students, but continuously also updating if teachers need to get that help, because teachers can get frustrated as well, especially dealing with classrooms of children who, you're dealing with a situation, of course, you're happy to start. Some of the schools lost their fans. Thanks to the IMA, we were able to, 2 weeks ago, also give them fans. And they're slowly getting the stuff. But even when you have everything that you need, you have to be able to deal with yourself. So again, teachers have to be able to, and people of St. Martin have to be able to look at themselves in the mirror and say, how am I coping? And decide whether they need to get help from third parties, because even the person that appears the calmest, as Minister Boseman said, you can snap quickly, and Minister will be able to tell you that even ministers have been displaying post-traumatic stress syndrome. We're flipping off a little quicker than usual. I mean, of course, dealing with the transition, that when is it going to happen? You have all this work to do. You don't know whether you're coming or going, especially within departments, you have that as well. So to the general public also, I'm asking you to have patience when you come to offices and there's a long line and you need help. So it will require patience and tolerance from us all. And people in a situation should be able to just say, you know what, I can't right now. I need a few minutes. And even if you're in a line and the person who's serving you needs a few minutes, that you can think for yourself, this person is dealing with this all day. So it can be tough, and allow that person, whether it is to take a walk and come back, drink water, use the bathroom, and regroup. Sometimes that's all it's needed. So general public of St. Martin, teachers, schools, managers, people in general, assess yourselves. We do have professionals. We had looked at bringing in more psychoprofessional help. In the initial phase, it wasn't necessary, but I think moving into 3 months and beyond, that that project definitely will see fruition, because they are just standing by. And I can see this as one of the projects that are low-hanging fruit, where we can bring in some psychosocial persons to assist with assisting those who are in need in schools, in justice, even the ones who in VSA have to deal with aid recipients, etc., those out in the field, and the general public.